So it's late October, and I'm out here on some public land doing some more scouting for deer. We're about 2 weeks out from the rut kicking into gear. Usually kicks into gear around the end of the first week in November here, and that's when the bucks start trolling, looking for does. Our three-day black powder season just finished up yesterday. Well, the early part of it anyway, the 3 days where you're allowed to take a buck. There's still another week to hunt antlerless deer, but it's been my past experience that most guys don't hunt that. They save their vacation time for the rut or for firearm season. So the pressure really dies back. There's a lot of intense pressure for 3 days and then it's done. But if you follow our videos and you're familiar with the video Scouting Public Land for Pre-Rut Bucks, you probably recognize this rub on this tree. I got back in here today to take another look around, and I went to the tree I had planned to hunt from on that trail. There's already fresh rubs showing up. This is 25 yards from one of the trees I had picked to hunt last year. So I'm thinking I'm just going to leave this spot alone. The tree's right where I know where it is. It hadn't gone anywhere. And I'm going to get out and scout this area a little more, see what the sign looks like after all the shooting was finished up. Wow, this is really encouraging. I was just leaving, heading back to look for a tree for a different wind to hunt this area. Fresh scrape with a nice rub on the tree right here, just about 50-60 yards from where my original spot is set up. So I can't wait to get back in here. But I do need to find another spot I can hunt if the winds come around out of the other direction. Now, when I was out here this past summer filming the Scouting Summer Buck Patterns on public land, I had returned to the area where I'd had an encounter with a really nice looking 6-point and didn't get a shot on him 2 years ago. And if you watch that video, you will remember that I mentioned I was disappointed to find out that a tree had fallen across the trail those deer were using. And it looked like it had altered their patterns a lot. This is the base of that tree, and I've returned to that same general area trying to find a new setup. Now the grass has died back enough that I'm finding a lot of nice track along the new trail. I even found a little fresh scrape from a couple days ago. It's not the only thing I'm looking for back in here though. I'm also looking for human sign, hunter sign, boot tracks, flagging tape marking spots, because if there's been a lot of guys back in here, I'm going to want to relocate. But fortunately, I'm not finding that, so I'm going to look around right in here where the trail goes around the base of this fallen tree where I was hunting 2 years ago, see if I can't find a good setup. I'm heading out. I found some really good looking sign and a couple trees to hunt it from. I'm going to go repeat this process at several other areas so I have options if the wind direction is wrong for this particular spot. Now, I don't want to get back in here and jump the gun on this though, because even though the sign looks real good and I'm really anxious to get back in and see if I can't get a look at the buck that's leaving it, I don't want to get back in here before the rut really starts kicking off well, because these deer are probably still pretty nocturnal. If they weren't before, they certainly are after early black powder split. I don't want to get a lot of scent and disturb the area, possibly push them off their pattern. So I'm just going to have to wait until I got the right wind and the right conditions to get back in here and give this a sit. And because conditions weren't right this morning, Michael and I decided to head back in here where we took those 3 deer back in the beginning of the season. I saw one buck slipping through the thick stuff at about 35 yards. I just caught a couple glimpses of him. But Michael had a little action early this morning, and then I heard a thwack on about 10 o'clock this morning. So I'm going to climb down and go over here and see what's going on where Michael's hunting.
So this little buck was laying over there for the longest time this morning. I was watching him, and he finally got up and he walked, and he was like, I don't know, 10 yards from the tree I was sitting in, and I didn't have a shot because of all the thick stuff. And then he cut out and he was walking straight away from me, so I still didn't have a shot. And then he got over here to this little patch of thick stuff and started acting like he was going to hook right and turn broadside. And since I got a good look at him and saw he was legal, because I already killed my scrub buck this year, so in like the state of Maryland, I killed like a spike buck, so I can't kill any more small bucks. I have to kill a buck with 3 or more points on one antler, and I was able to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not a big buck, but he came out here and he turned broadside, and I shot him.
You're right, he only needed to be 3 points or better. So what did he do after the shot?
I watched him right after I shot. He started to run in the direction he was headed, but then hooked left and just made a U-turn and fell straight out in front, maybe 100 yards. So he should be laying there.
Let's go check him out.
He didn't go far. From my tree to where the shot hit to right there. There he is. Roll 6 point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's my second buck tag. I actually just bought my bonus stamp yesterday. God, it just, yeah. Good Lord, that was a hard shot. Nothing but a hard shot. So we're off to an early start here. The rut's not even really kicked into full gear here yet, and I opted to take this small 6 point. It's meat that's going to go a long way to fill the freezer, and I just couldn't be happier with it. I did take a spike buck out of this same spot earlier. As a matter of fact, thanks to Dad and his unconventional scouting tactics, we actually took 3 deer out of this same spot earlier in the year. So now we're at a total of 4 deer out of this same spot that he scouted. Yeah, what a great way to kind of kick off the season. I'm going to still be out hunting, looking for some antlerless deer, and I can take another buck during another weapon season here in Maryland. But until then, looks like I'm just hunting antlerless deer for meat. But yeah, those unconventional scouting tactics, they really did pay off.